I am Vinnie Tortorich, folks. Your good intentions have been stolen, but don't worry. I'm here to help you get them back. You may be soft and succulent at the beginning of this process, but hang in there. Before long, you will be lean and mean, guaranteed, just like the woman on the other mic. I'm talking about the beautiful Miss Gina Grad. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, please. Please. Thank you so much. Really, that's unnecessary.
Yeah, George Benson.
I was still singing.
Broadway. But by the way, do you know that song, Gina?
I know it very well, and I'm thinking, okay, A, you are either telling me you're moving to New York, or B, you just watched all that jazz. Otherwise, I don't know why you'd play that song.
I don't know. You always remind me of musicals and Broadway. You
I
you just
love
give
that
me
song.
that Broadway vibe, and I had that vibe looking at you, and you know what? I think that song's got a little meat on it, so
It
I
does.
think I can get everything out before
You
he
talked it up
starts singing.
well. Do you prefer me real quick, glasses or no glasses?
All
Because
right,
I don't
let's see.
okay, here's no
That's no
glasses.
glasses.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then here's I just took my stats test, and I still have my glasses on.
Well, with the glasses on, you look like the sexy librarian in a porn.
That's what I was
The
going
hair's in
for.
a
Yeah,
bun on top of that. So you
yeah,
got the bun and the
yeah,
glasses.
yeah. I was
So
going for that.
at some point, I think you're gonna take the glasses off and do the bun and then do that thing with
Yeah.
your hair.
Oh,
Yeah, and do that. Yeah.
I have a
Um,
secret. I don't really know the Dewey Decimal System. Yeah.
Dewey who? Yeah. You was in here last week. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Because they're kinda cute and they help me from getting headaches, but, my husband calls me, um, a 4 eyes and a geekazoid. So, it's hard to
Oh,
put
that's
which is
original.
funny which is funny
Yeah.
because he needs glasses and I don't really need them. So, anyway, yeah, I'm wearing my glasses today, and I hope it's doing what I hope it's doing, which is the sexy librarian vibe.
Yeah, you have the sexy librarian thing
Good,
going on. Let's keep it
great,
going. Let me
good.
live in that fantasy.
Perfect. What are you checking out today, Mr. Tortorich?
I don't know. I'm looking at a book called Wide and Deep. Do you know where it is on the shelf?
Good. Your improv skills have not gone to waste.
Yeah.
Good. Well,
Maybe I
you
should have taken the class.
so I'm back in school, as you know, I'm dealing with the statistics class, which is the bane of
Yeah.
my existence, but I'm in research mode because of school, and you gave me an assignment a couple weeks ago, and I wanted to pay it off
All right.
because, you wouldn't tell me anything about it. You just said
Okay.
at some point, Gina's going to have a list of major donors and sponsors to the American Heart Association.
Right.
Um, I wanna put if it's okay, can I put a little pin in that and tell you this news story, and then we can see kinda where we're at in terms of what the American Heart Association knows and doesn't know,
Sure.
'cause
Yeah,
they're
go
related.
on. Yeah.
So, as you know, my husband and I are hardcore NSNG. Thank God we took our, ultra-fat nut butters to Universal. We always throw them in my backpack, so when we're walking around and the kid wants, candy corn and hot dogs, we have our ultra-fat. So,
Right.
thank you for that. Very helpful. And, my husband, wants to run another marathon in June, which I'm not loving, but anyway, he says he can do it because he's full NSNG and feels great. Okay.
Okay,
So
whoa, 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 whoa,
yeah,
whoa. Why
that was
do you not love it? What's your
I don't
problem with it?
first of all, he doesn't really train, as you know, he doesn't train
Right.
that hard. Is he out on a run right now? Yes, which is fantastic. But he kinda goes in and out, and I don't want him running 26.2 miles again if maybe his body isn't cooperating. But he says he feels great, so maybe he's fine. What do I know?
When you married him, I was at the wedding.
Yeah.
There was something about better or worse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now, why are you trying to make it worse for this guy?
I'm
Make it better.
No, he's trying to make it worse by having both his knees replaced, and I'm the one that's gonna have to deal with him.
Why is he gonna need his knees replaced?
Because he's always bitching about his knees, but he hasn't been since he's been back on NSNG.
Oh, go figure.
Okay. As my teacher would say, "Is that correlation and causation?" I'm gonna just shut up
Mm,
about that then.
yeah, go on.
Anyway, that's his thing. Mine is walking. I walk about 2.5 miles a day on average, sometimes more, sometimes less, like 2 to 4, basically. But 2.5 is always kind of where I'm at. And a big part of that for me is intermittent fasting. It just helps. Because I don't need to be snacking after dinner and I don't need to wake up and, do anything. I eat from maybe noon to 7:30. That works for me. I feel good. It makes me feel like I'm on track. I know tons of people who do that. I didn't think it was a big deal. However, this study was presented to the American Heart Association saying that is suggesting there might be a reason to be cautious about intermittent fasting because it found some intermittent fasters are more likely to die of heart disease. And we're all going to have heart attacks. The study focused on time-restricted eating, that's intermittent fasting, where meals are consumed within an 8-hour window, and analyzing the data from 20,000 adults over 15 years. And you're going to love how they researched it. Researchers found that those practicing this eating pattern had a 91% higher risk of dying from heart disease compared to those with a traditional eating pattern. And the risk was particularly pronounced among individuals with existing heart conditions or cancer. Now, the study's lead author, Victor Wenzi Zhang, he urged caution, saying, remember, it also could be what they're eating as opposed to when they're eating, but who am I to say? And in case you're wondering how this went down, it appeared to be epidemiological.
No, it doesn't appear to be epidemiological. I could have told you that before you said it because there was 20,000 people over a 15-year period.
You mean they don't all have heart monitors on them for 15 years?
Now, Gina, we've done this before, but I'm going to do it again.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, folks, I want to mention before I do this to Gina, Gina is a member of Mensa.
Oh, boy.
In order to be a member of Mensa, Gina, what does your IQ have to be?
Well, from what I remember, I think the minimum is like 132.
Okay. And are you a member of Mensa?
Yes.
Okay. So smarter than the average bear.
Just a little. Tiny. Seriously
Okay.
tiny.
Look, I mean, you're in a high pollutant group, as they would say down south, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I want you to answer this question with, I'm going to give you 5 seconds to answer it.
This is going to be rough.
What did you have for lunch 2 days ago?
Hold on. What's today? Tuesday.
5 seconds has gone by. 10 seconds has gone by. What did you have for breakfast yesterday morning?
I think
5 seconds has gone by. What time did you eat breakfast yesterday morning?
Oh, I have no idea. Maybe almost noon. Maybe.
Okay. I just asked a member of Mensa 3 questions from either 2 days ago or yesterday, and she couldn't answer any. Were you faking that, or did you?
No, I mean, if I look at my calendar, I can probably tell you because I don't eat the same thing every day.
Okay. On epidemiological test, do you know what they do?
They kind of leave it up to the subject to figure out their answers.
They ask them what you've eaten over the last 6 months or what have you eaten over the past year. And they do that over 15 years, either 15 times or 30 times. That's usually the rate.
I mean, I could give you a rough estimate, but that's about it.
Oh, you can give me a rough estimate. Now, let me tell you something else. This is not what I'm getting ready to tell you is not an epidemiological study, but as you know, I've been talking to morbidly obese people for, 40 years.
Yeah.
You know what most of them tell me, Gina?
What?
Never eat breakfast. Never eat breakfast. I can't even stand breakfast. I don't start eating until X amount of time, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. But boy, once I start, it's 1 liter of Coke after another liter of Coke and blah, blah. And this scientists have, there's, what's his name?
Victor Wenz Zhang.
Yeah, Mr. Zhang. Even though I don't know what these people were eating. Well, why don't you go figure that out before you do a headline that's going to screw more people up, right? That should be the headline. We did a 15-year study. We have no fucking idea what we just figured out because we did nothing. That's what an epidemiological study should be.
So there's
That's
really
what it should be. Period. Period. End of story.
Mm.
Right? As soon as I saw this, it's like, oh, eating less is a bad idea. Okay. Let me do an epidemiological study for you. Most of this country is morbidly obese now. Is that okay? Is eating more a good idea? Eating more junk? Is that a good idea, Mr. Zhang? Should we do that? Or did you do absolutely nothing and grab a fucking headline because you're an asshole? And by the way, this was on every news outlet a week ago and it drove me nuts. Every news outlet. I had people calling me, hey, my dad just said, you see, I told you not to intermittent fast. Now, by the way, I'm not even a fan of intermittent fasting, but I'm okay if people like to eat within a window. I try to finish eating by 7 or 8 o'clock whenever I eat my last meal, and I don't eat again until maybe 8 or 9 o'clock the next morning. I do that.
Yeah.
But we don't even know what these people were consuming. This is bullshit on top of bullshit with a side dish of bullshit.
Would you like some
Oh,
fresh
yeah.
cracked bullshit over the top?
Yeah, if you want to crack, sometimes people sprinkle it on. You can get a shaving of bullshit
Yeah.
on top if you
Grate
want.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, you do whatever you want. As a matter of fact, you could take some cow dung, heat it up, and cook it on cow dung. They do that in India. I saw it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a popular way to cook your bullshit with actual shit.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, I know how you feel about epidemiological studies. And again, I never knew that was a big deal until the first time I met you. I had no idea.
Mhm.
And you're saying that intermittent fasting, if it works for you, fantastic, knock yourself out. It's not the only way, and it's probably not going to kill you. And everyone just calm down.
Yeah, this study said exactly zero, less than zero. And the fact that the American Heart Association took this and ran with it told you everything you need to know about the American Heart Association. But wait, there's more, Gina. What did we learn about who sponsors the American Heart Association?
Well, you asked me a couple weeks ago to come up with a couple of big corporate names that sponsor, that donate, that give to the
Can I
AHA.
guess at a few of them?
Yeah, and I will say I looked at a bunch of, like, the stats chart. Oh, don't remind me. But a lot of, there's some tech companies, there's Bayer, there's, that kind of stuff, and yeah, I'm not shocked. Then I went directly to their website. Proud sponsors. I have 1, 2, 5 in front of me
Okay.
right now.
Let me see if I could guess some of them. Would it be like, it must be a big box gym in there, 24-hour fitness? Are they in there?
No.
Maybe a heart rate monitor. Let me look around my desk. Polar Fitness, are they sponsored in there?
No,
Uh,
I don't see that.
does Trek Bicycle, are they sponsoring?
Mm-mm.
Any yogurt is really healthy. Any yogurt companies in there?
I didn't see specifically a yogurt company.
Yogurt company. You know what? Big Kale has got to be in there. Big Kale is that,
I
By the
don't
way,
see Big
which would be
Kale.
a great name for a roller derby chick. Big Kale. Yeah.
I don't see big kale. I don't see any produce.
Yeah. No produce.
Uh-uh.
Really?
Yeah. I don't
Hang on.
It's
I,
not
I,
on their website.
I'm looking at a York barbell over here in the corner. There's the York Barbell Company.
No.
Gina, I'm sorry I was messing around. I got some Rogue, this rack behind me, this red rack. You see,
Yeah.
that's Rogue. Rogue must be sponsoring because they're into health and fitness, right? Do you have Rogue there
I
somewhere?
don't see anything with that name on it.
No,
No.
I'm just looking around my room. Schwinn is the Schwinn company.
No.
Oh, Concept 2. I got a Concept 2 here. Are they sponsoring the American? Because that's
Again,
not healthy.
no, they're not on the
I
website,
did
no.
that today and my heart feels fine. Oh, TRX. TRX must be one of the sponsors.
No, uh-uh.
No,
I
no. Oh, you know what? I, I know. Look, I know it's an infomercial product, but I have the slings from Perfect Push Up. The
Oh,
Perfect
really?
Push Up people, yeah, do or
I
yeah.
think my husband has those. No, not on the website.
Well, I'm running out of
I
stuff
know,
to
I'm
look.
sorry, this is
No, I'm
disappointing.
looking at my espresso machine, ECM, the ECM espresso machine company.
Uh-uh,
No,
I don't
nothing.
see that.
Oh boy, I'm out of stuff, Gina. Who's actually
Whew.
sponsoring the AHA, the American Heart Association?
Okay, again, I did some digging on my own. Yes,
Mm,
these 5 are on their website. They
Okay.
are highlighting them. We have General Mills, Mars-Wrigley,
Mm-hmm.
McDonald's, PepsiCo, and the United Soybean Board.
Hmm. Hmm. So let's see. It would behoove them to squint when it comes to soybean or any grain product,
Mhm.
because
Cereal.
soybean, big soybean. Um,
Sugar.
you said General Mills.
I did.
That's every grain and sugar you can possibly imagine.
Yeah.
So eat up, folks. They're going to tell you to eat that.
In fact, they're saying if you're having problems, making ends meet with your family, have cereal for dinner.
Mars-Wrigley, Mars, people think it's just Mars bar. That's a big company. They make a lot of sweet stuff all the
Yeah.
way around. As a matter of fact, I think in Purina, part of that, Purina,
Oh, I don't know.
yeah,
Hope
I
not.
might be because I was at a charity event one time, and maybe the guy ran Mars, and then he went over and ran Purina. I can't remember how that works. Some of these big CEOs just go from one to the other. Uh,
Well, we're talking M&M's, Snickers, Skittles.
M&Ms, or as I like to call them, little fat turds, nature's little fat turds.
Oh,
So
by the
fat.
way, this is a separate subject, and I didn't bring anything, and I didn't send you a video,
Mhm.
but I did make a mental note of it a couple weeks ago, and because I said Skittles, I saw this cow farmer who for a beef farmer, not dairy, who said that, "Oh, I've heard these conspiracy theories that we feed our cows Skittles, and that's insane. Let me explain where that rumor came from." Technically, we do if there's extra Skittles, we will mash it up and we will give it to the cows because the cows need the sugar. So do we just hand feed our cows Skittles? No, we're not crazy, but we do put it in their feed because they need the sugar. I hope that clears everything up.
Yeah, because they have 4 stomachs that ferments everything and what have you. Yeah, cows eat a lot of it, they eat, yeah, that's what they do. Um,
Anyway, yeah, so lots of candy that you guys are familiar with
yeah.
comes from Mars-Wrigley.
So, what were the other 2 companies? We named 3 of them there.
Um, PepsiCo and
PepsiCo, and
McDonald's.
by the way, PepsiCo, I don't think people realize this. They're not just selling soft drinks, folks. PepsiCo owns a lot of fast food restaurants. Like, yeah, I think Taco Bell might be in there, a couple of those. PepsiCo owns a lot of stuff. So don't think, oh, it's just, PepsiCo.
The big 3, Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, and KFC.
Yeah, go figure. That's all owned by PepsiCo. So don't think they're just making a benign soft drink. No, oh no. They're in there, aren't you shocked that I know all this stuff, Gina?
I
A
am,
little
and
shocked.
it kinda grosses me out because I guess
Mm.
I never put that together.
Yeah, yeah,
And
PepsiCo
not to be outdone, little old McDonald.
had a farm, EIEIO. And McDonald's is the number one fast food restaurant in the world. I think Starbucks is number 3
Oh, boy.
on that list. Yeah. So there you have it. There you have it. Look, you think I make this stuff up, right? What?
Here's
You look
I know
confused.
I'm being naive. I know I have a lot to learn, but how are they
Mhm.
allowed to accept money from these companies? Don't you think there would be a conflict saying, we love it. It doesn't fit our objective to accept money from you specifically since we're a heart association."
They don't care. You ever hear of a company called Unilever?
Uh-huh.
Mm. Yeah, it's big food for Europe, basically.
Okay.
They're the Nabisco of Europe. They're one of the biggest members that funds um, the Tichan School over at Harvard. Harvard is nothing but Harvard is the world's biggest whore. That's all Harvard is. Harvard is not even a college anymore. It's an endowment fund.
Right.
That's all it is. Harvard has billions on. I'm not talking like 10 billion or 50. They have like 60 billion. They're bigger than some small countries. Find out what Harvard has, and when you have companies like Unilever handing Walter Willett millions of dollars to come up with all these studies. That's why you've heard me say, even back when we were all on the Adam Carolla show, if it comes out of Harvard, enough said. I don't need to hear any other words. They've been compromised left, right, and center. Walter Willett has gotten rich off of taking bribes to Unilever and then handing those bribes to his team to go study stuff and come up with stuff to show that eating sugars and grains is the best way to go.
I will never forget the first time you said that on the Adam Carolla show. We all kind of snickered like, what does he know? It's Harvard. I mean, ever heard of Harvard? It's
Yeah.
Harvard. And when you scratch the surface, and to your point, this was in 2022, June of 2022. I don't know why anyone pays to go to Harvard, since as of June 2022, they had a endowment of 50 billion with a B billion dollars.
Didn't I say 60? And you probably thought, oh, come on, Vinny's making that shit up,
And
right?
that was a year and a half ago, so it
Yeah.
could be closer to 60.
Yeah, it's just a big endowment fund. And as a matter of fact, some some law firms and this and that, they're picking up on this shit. They're going, wait, Stanford, Harvard, these are not the best law schools anymore because they're just pulling people in based on everything else other than smarts. And it's nothing but a big old endowment fund. And they're finding lawyers in other places and CEOs and everything else. These schools used to guarantee that you got in those positions. Not
Oh,
anymore. They've compromised and screwed up their own brand, right?
and that's the thing. I mean, any young, plucky entrepreneur with a small business, I mean, you have a small business, right? As
Right.
opposed to, 3,000, global employees. You've been saying this for how many years? Look, does the little devil on my shoulder, would I absolutely just love to take your big bag of money and run off with it? Who wouldn't? I can't compromise my brand. It's all I have.
Yeah.
So for the American Heart Association, which has the word heart in it, which is
Right.
supposed to be about your heart health, why can't they say, like, "Look, find another way. I don't know. I don't know what you gotta do. We cannot take it. It compromises the brand."
Right.
I shouldn't be this stunned. I know you're looking at me like rolling your eyes. I cannot believe that they would shoot themselves in the foot that way, but as I guess we've noticed, either nobody noticed or nobody cares.
Yeah, well, no one notices, no one cares. I've been looking into the stuff ever since my show Talking Fitness back in New Orleans on WSMB. I've been doing this my entire life, and I've been bringing up words that are now. Oh, by the way, you could have done the same thing with the ADA, the American Diabetes
Oh
Association.
god.
And, as a matter of fact, make that your next thing. I want you to go find all the sugar companies that give to the ADA. That's why they're lying to people saying sugar is brain food. That's what the ADA is saying for people with diabetes, type 1 and type 2. And the only way to get type 2 diabetes, unless you're talking to Dr. Michael Greger, because he would
Right,
tell you eating one egg per week will
right.
give you type 2 diabetes. And I think he also says meat will give you diabetes. Two absolute lies. No way, shape, and form that either one of those foods can give you type 2 diabetes at all. Right. But if you go look up the ADA, you're going to have the same problem you have with the AHA. And these are people that should be off of all sugar. Their problem was created by sugar. Sugar. Folks, go back 2 weeks and listen. I had Dr. Seyfried on. Uh, uh, Seyfried is the doctor that says that metabolic cancer therapies, cancer could be a mitochondrial metabolic disease or a genetic disease. He thinks it's a mitochondrial metabolic disease. Guess what? ADA, same thing. We talked about that. I talked about that with this doctor. This guy knows his shit.
Well, I just went to their website quickly without, of course, I
Sure.
didn't do a deep dive. It's been less than 90 seconds. The 2 that jump out at me are
Coca-Cola, I think, is one of them, right?
I'm not seeing that on what they're highlighting. It just says about our national sponsors. Again, I have to look at a couple more websites. Vision Care, whatever. The 2 that jump out at me are the Idaho Potato Commission
Hmm.
and Splenda.
Yeah, go
And
figure.
I'll have another story for you next week about how you've been wrong about artificial sugars, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Oh, good. Yeah, bring that one up because I'm 1,000% right about that. And by the way, if you remember going back to the Adam Carolla show on those 96 illustrious episodes I was on, um, did you know I was like the third or fourth most repeated guest in history?
That doesn't surprise me at all. It's
I
probably
didn't
you
know
and Greg Fitzsimmons and Joe Coy.
that. Fitzsimmons was behind me. I'm sure he's ahead of me now because he still goes on. He was behind me by a few. Joe Coy was way behind us. He had like 50 or 60. I was up there with the guy from not Spin Magazine, but
Oh, David Wild?
David Wild. Um, there was someone else who was up there.
Huh.
I can't remember who. That was
Think of.
Giovanni Giorgio told me about this one
Oh,
time.
yeah, he'll tell you anything you wanna know.
Tell me exactly. You've been on 96 episodes. I went, does that include when they talk about me? And I'm not, he goes, no, you have to actually be on the episode or it doesn't count.
That's
Um,
incredible. I
yeah.
was on for 8 years, and it feels like you were on more than I was.
Here's the thing. I used to bring up an organization on that show. No one knew who it was. I would bring it up and go, the WHO is out of their mind. The WHO, the WHO, the WHO, and they would go, we don't know. And Adam would just kind of roll over it.
Mhm.
Now everybody knows who the WHO is because of COVID, right?
Of
We looked
course.
at what the World Health Organization did during COVID. But when I'm talking about it in my first movie, Fat Documentary, or I'm talking about it on the Adam Carolla show, everybody's going, huh? What? Who's this WHO? Never heard of it? That's the attitude I used to get. But now we know what these assholes are up to. Look at what they did during COVID. And then you go, okay, now can we just backfill the shit I was talking about for the past 20 years in the WHO when only guys like me knew what the WHO was? Maybe me and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. You know,
And that's what it takes.
yeah,
For us to be like, "Wait, what?"
yeah. People are going, the who, the what? Why you send these letters together? Well, don't know. Nobody knew what it was. Think about it. Did you know what the WHO was?
No, and if I knew the acronym, I didn't really know what they did.
Right. Now everybody knows. And
Yeah.
now as my grandfather said, they showed their ass. Right. And now we know who they are. But there you have it, folks. I don't come on a show and lie. I just come here and just tell the truth. And people go, oh, you're just being salacious and this. No, no, no. I'm never
You're being
salacious.
alarmist.
I don't even really know what salacious means. So the bottom line is, you've been lied to, and I'm here to try to help you get your intentions back and get you to move forward. Right. So there you have it. Gina, if you guys want to find Gina Grad, she's got My Extra Family on Instagram. Tell them all that, brag a little bit, Gina. Tell them where they can find you.
Right. Yeah, it's an account I'm very proud of on Instagram. Please join me over there. Follow the account at My Extra Family. It's about parenting and step parenting, and a little informative, a little bit fun, a little everything. And I would love to have you join me at My Extra Family. My Extra Mom, the children's book, is available. The children's book I wrote is available. It is a children's book for step families. And if you know anyone with a step parent, this would be a great gift for them. You can get it at Amazon, of course, by going to VinnieTortorich.com, clicking through the banner, and just grab your book. It doesn't cost you anything. It just helps Vinnie and it helps me. And then, of course, the Brian and Gina Show, the official podcast of LA Magazine, wherever fine podcasts are listened to.
There you have it, folks. Now, with me, you know what to do. Rate and review this podcast, unless you're one of those vegans that listen just to write shit about me on the internet. You guys just sit down, sit on your hands, kind of like the stewardesses, I'm sorry, flight attendants. They do on takeoff. They sit on their hands. You ever notice that? They sit on their hands.
I've never noticed. Wait a second.
A lot of them sit on their hands.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. It has something to do with safety, and I don't really know. Look, if a plane's going to crash into the ground at 3,000 miles an hour, you can have your hand up your nose. It's not going to matter. You want to sit on your hands, you knock yourself out. But yeah, a lot of them sit on their hands. Gina will look up for the next show if I'm making this up, and we're going to try to figure out why flight attendants actually sit on their hands. That's what we're up to next show.
I'll do my best.
And Gina will remind me for the next show to bring up a woman who was overtraining for a bicycle race. And we're going to talk about that in the next show. She started gaining weight. She's tired, the whole thing. I'll talk about what happened with a woman I spoke to. I asked her, she was a phone caller, and I said, can I talk about this on an upcoming show? And she said, absolutely.
Wow.
We'll be talking about that. And Gina's going to have all kinds of other stuff,
Mhm.
including why, flight attendants sit on their hands. So,
I will.
rate and review, Amazon, blah, 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 boop. On behalf of Gina Grad, my name is Vinnie Tortorich. Put life into living and do it with enthusiasm.